Guys, the moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Conor McGregor is stepping back into the octagon this Saturday, and our show sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, is giving you a shot to turn $1 into $257. That's right. New users can bet $1 on McGregor to win by knockout in the first round, and if he does, which he says he's going to do, you'll be cashing in $257. Bet a little, win a lot. It's that simple. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download DraftKings, top-rated sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code SONNEN when you sign up to turn $1 into $257 if McGregor wins by knockout in the first round. This offer is available for a limited time for my listeners only, and only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Dan Hooker was talking about his division, talking about 257. And he said that he thinks Conor McGregor, outside of Khabib, skill for skill is the best lightweight in the world. And it was the skill for skill part. The skill for skill part that I want to talk about. Because I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that skill for skill means dynamic. Who can do what? Who is a master of more trades? Because in that regard, it is Conor. Khabib is not dynamic. Very one-dimensional. Now, I tell you he's one-dimensional because nobody stopped that dimension. So we don't know what all Khabib is capable of. He never had to show it. But the skill for skill part, when Hooker talked about this, maybe that, well, now wait just a second. Skill for skill, Dan, you're in front of Khabib. Khabib takes people down and then mauls them. It just surprised me that he said skill for skill as a qualification and then put Conor number 2 to Khabib or a number of other lightweights. It just surprised me. And as I say this to you, does it matter? In my opinion, no. It does not. It does not matter to me if you're exciting, if you're boring, if you're dynamic, if you're a one-dimensional master. It does not matter. The only thing that matters to me is, can you beat the guy in front of you? And I'll tell you, you guys have heard of Team Quest. Team Quest went on and was a very big gym until it dissolved. But before it was Team Quest, it was called Performance Quest. And the thought behind Performance Quest, and this is when Randy Couture and Dan Henderson first started this. They opened it, they named it Performance Quest because they were not doing a belt system. You did not have to be a black belt or a blue belt. Randy Couture was the sitting champion of the world and had no belt in any form of martial arts. I tie that in with the name Performance Quest. The reason he named it Performance Quest was the ideology that this is based on performance, not belt, not skill. Not who's more dynamic, performance. Did you beat him or did he beat you? So when I tie in that, for me, I do not believe Khabib is dynamic. When you're talking the Demetrius Johnsons or the George St. Pierres of the world or the Kamaru Usmans, I don't feel that you can bring Khabib into that conversation. Who can beat who, which is the only thing that matters, you got to put Khabib at the very top of that conversation. I fully agree. But that's not what Dan Hooker qualified it as. He was saying skill for skill. Now, I don't know the definition of skill for skill. I'm telling you what I hear when he says skill for skill. I assume that he means dynamic, which would not be Khabib. And it is a very interesting topic. I feel as though Conor McGregor does not get the credit he deserves. And while you guys are going to look at that and quickly go, Chael, what are you talking about? He's the highest paid guy in the sport. He's more over than anybody in the sport. I still believe for his talents that he is underappreciated. I feel if you went back and you looked at who he has beaten in his career, which includes Max Holloway, by the way, which includes Dustin Poirier, by the way. I mean, the top biggest stars, includes Nate Diaz, by the way, includes Chad Mendes, includes Eddie Alvarez. I mean, if you were to go back and look at who Conor's beat, how he beat them. Max Holloway fight, Conor's out there. What did he have, a torn ACL or was it an MCL? But whatever it was a tear, and it involved surgery, and he still won. But you could break that down through his career, even as you go over into boxing and go, man, a half hour later, and very even on real judging, not on the corrupt Nevada State Athletic Commission scorecards, on real scorecards, a very close fight with Floyd Mayweather. You know, this guy's skills are quite remarkable. And his grappling skills, which you don't see a ton of, but I have seen at least a little of through training videos, admittedly, but through training videos, very good grappler. I even appreciated him as a coach when he went on The Ultimate Fighter. I thought he was a surprisingly good coach. And I only offer for you that all around, as far as who's ranked where, you know, the pound for pound rankings came out, and Conor was on the list, but he was lower on the list than you would think. He was somewhere in the top 10, but he wasn't in the top 5 or 6. I thought that was a surprise. And I thought that when you're judging a pound for pound list and you have one of the few guys in the sport who has actually tested the theory, who has actually left weight classes. Pound for pound is this really interesting talk, and I don't think that people know what it means. And it's not up for your opinion. A boxing reporter in 1974 out of Brooklyn, New York, coined the phrase, which means he gets to coin the definition, which he did, which was, of any athlete, if they all weighed the same, who would beat who? He did not go any further with the definition. So it doesn't have to do with who's the most dynamic or the most skilled or the most finishes. It has to do with who could beat who if they all weighed the same. That's all that pound for pound means. It doesn't mean anything more. And it does seem to me that if you're looking at Conor McGregor, an athlete who's covered the spread of 3 different weights, so it's not a big mythical question of how would this guy do if he changed weight. Some athletes actually did it. Those athletes should be moved to the front of the list. It doesn't have to be a mythical wonder where you close your eyes and you imaginate, or you sit across the table and you argue. Some athletes had the balls to go do it. He's one of the very few, and he is the only, at least within meaningful contention, that did it in 3 weight classes. 4 if you want to include boxing over 2 different sports. I think that needs to be considered.